And I don't know. I somehow, somewhere along the line, I got addicted to football. Well, I guess I started like everybody else in Barbados. I started playing football on a road, not even a field. Uh, I started off as a goalkeeper, and I always had this thing about me that that I can be better than everybody. So it was tar road. I used to be diving just so that you wouldn't score me.
Hmm.
And I moved from there to little places with grass, and then you go to Empire. You're behind the goal, and all you want to do is to touch that ball. The ball go outside, and 15 guys running to catch it. And I don't know. I somehow, somewhere along the line, I got addicted to football. I was a reasonably good road tennis player. I played cricket for almost every school that I went to. But somehow football, I got hooked on football, and I think that I can relate to people that have a problem with addiction,
Uh,
because I think that I went through that. No matter what, football at one point was the first thing for me. Well, it was between football and cricket. Everybody used to play football and cricket, and you know, I believe that up to now, our idea about being a good footballer is a footballer who could dribble somebody. Uh, people don't really people don't really see the defensive part of football in Barbados for some reason. And I believe that that's the same thing that's going on up to this day. If you could push a ball through a guy's legs, everybody's think that this guy is good. But I keep telling people all the time in Barbados about that. I'm saying that if you got a scout looking for players, there's look for more than the skill. But somehow we don't get it. My first real shock for me as far as football is concerned. Yes, we were playing football in Barbados. I was playing at club level. The highest level in Barbados at the time, first division. But I went to Germany with Barbados in 1976, and it's there that I understand that there's no way that we could even be close to these people.
why'd you say that?
First of all, the first time in my life that I've ever trained like that is 3 times a day. It was like eating. You train in the morning, you train in the afternoon, you train in the evening. We've never done that here in Barbados. When I came back to Barbados from Germany, my position was defensive midfielder. If you have the ball and I want it, I'm taking it. And there's nothing you could do to stop it. I was that fit that you run in and you feel like you are on a cloud. I never felt that way yet training in Barbados or anything like that. This year was something very new to us.
What about your coaches at the time who were from Barbados?
Yes, we had some half decent coaches, yeah, but these guys weren't exposed
Hmm.
to the real thing of football. What I think happened to us, if we had people going overseas doing training sessions, I think they do it now. I think that we would have been a lot better off then. But like I said, after going to Germany and seeing people training, the way that these guys train, we were not even nowhere close to there. I remember we were in a room, and we saw some people training, So we looking at these guys going hard. So we asked, coach, who, who is these? What team is this that is training? The man looked through the window. The man told us that them they're the referees. They're the referees.
They were referees. They were
Yeah,
training.
training. Yeah. So like I said, that there was an eye opener for me. I don't know about the other. I'm sure it was for a lot of other guys too. You know, I remember another time too. It was raining, pouring rain. So everybody said, "Oh no, nah, for sure we can get the day off today." And the coach took us to a place. It looked like at the time it looked like a garage. When we get to the door, the man opened the door. I thought I could not believe my eyes. This place it was bigger than about as big as the oval. I'm thinking it was about as big as the oval. The inside of this place, balls hanging from the ceiling for heading practice and then kind of thing. This is something totally new to us at the time.
I want to ask you something though. I want to ask you how did you manage to represent your country? What was that experience like? How did you come about that? How did you make the national team?
Well, I keep telling people all the time. I don't think I was born with the gifts that people would say that like people like Jerry Goddard and Jas Clark and these guys were born with. I'm one of them people that do not tell me that I can't do it. If you tell me that I can't do it, it somehow light up something in me. And I remember at the end of a season I was playing second division, and at the end of the season I told the guys, I said, look, you know what? I am going to play for the first division team next year. All right, support. We you gonna be playing? I say playing midfield. I was usually I was a winger at the time. Tell me no that I can't do it. I can't make it. And I had a friend in my hall. He was into football big time. He booked some magazines and all kind you get from England and all kind of thing. So I spoke to him about playing midfield. So he explained to me, the basics. If you're gonna be a midfield player, you got to be able to pass the ball. You got to be able to think fast. Yeah, you got to be able to use both your feet. And I just went about it like that. Yeah. And like I said, I'm playing first division. I'm a defensive midfielder. My job is to interrupt the players, and that's what I'm going to do. And the usual thing. You come up against guys that tell you, or you're coming up against me next week, and this and that and all kind of thing. And I listen to Michael Jordan, the things that used to inspire him to go on to play more harder. And I think I had the same thing too. If you keep telling me that or you can't stop me in it, chances are you may not even touch the ball for the whole game.
So that would have been a big mistake.
That'd be a big mistake. Yeah, don't try that here. You know what I mean? Because I this is the way I look at players. You have 2 feet, 2 hands, and a head. What make you believe that we're doing I can't do? That was me. And I used to play football without fear. Right? I had no fear. And now guys be talking about I don't want to play like that because the next thing I get my foot broken, and that never crossed my mind.
Well, I remember when I came around, you were still playing, and you were, it was always a thrill to watch.
Yeah,
Move
never.
that.
Yeah, move that. Yeah, that was me. I never had no fear. I never had fear. Other players now. So I play against a few English players and stuff like that here. That to me, I don't know, man. There wasn't a difference. I was never We played in Germany. You know, we went to Germany as a little boy, weighing 135 pounds at 24 years old, and people people used to look at me and think that I was 13 or 14. You know, you come when you go to Germany, Barbados team go to Germany and they're playing. These guys are 6 footers.
So when you look now that we all grown and mature, and we look at international football, and we see how the Caribbean guys are bigger now.
Hmm.
But when we see the difference with the athletes, the size and stuff, we can tell right away. Okay, something is wrong here.
Exactly. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I remember one time we played an English team at the Oval, and we were there in the dressing room, and the team came in and they were going to the dressing room. So one of the guys asked, "Where's the team we were playing?" And the guy says, "That's the team there." Man look at the dressing room and say, "Oh, I thought those were the ball boys." Because we were all, who was the biggest person I was playing with at the time? Maybe Tobacco, Gas was a little taller, but all the rest of the guys were little fellas.
Small guys.
Yeah, even Crocker was maybe a 6 foot 6'2", maybe, but at the time I'm sure I don't think that Crocker could have been 180. I doubt.
That's Cracker from Black Rock.
From Black Rock,
And
yeah.
he's a big guy.
Yeah, he was one of the big guys. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Well, moving to Canada was that was love. I had a woman here, and that's what brought me here. And like I said, I was in that mode at the time, 25 years old. I was really into football, and I could not get it out of my system. Um, now years after, I should have thrown in the towel on football long before I finished. Yeah, when I started that job with TDC, I think that's when I should have thrown in the towel. I took some chances playing football, going to work nights, and that kind of thing. So I just could not get it out of me. I make many attempts to stop playing, but just couldn't stop. Yeah, it was really hard. I remember playing like we used to go out holiday games and stuff like that. And I work in a holiday, and I'll be out with the guys all day, and then go and work all night.
Yep.
I don't think that was safe at the time, but you're younger, and I think I had that ability, to sleep for maybe half hour or something, so I'd be good for a whole day. I was better at that than a lot of people. I just need an hour, 2 hours sleep, and then I good to go. I think if I wasn't like that, there's no way that I would have been able to do that. Well, I was here. I vacationed here in 1974. I came up to Canada to live in 77. But I was, and I met a few of the guys. I went to a picnic, met a few of the guys and stuff like that. Yeah. So I knew about them before I moved to Canada permanently, and I knew that I probably, because of the way that I am, I played for a club in Barbados, and I never played for anybody else, and that's how I am.
Which
Uh,
club was that?
Everton, Everton, and out of season I may play for other teams or something like that, but whenever the season begins, I'm back at Everton again. I may probably start at Empire training, because Empire used to start training before Everton. So I would go and train with Empire, and everybody thought that, well, yeah, this year for sure he coming to everything, to Empire.
Why didn't you play with Empire?
Reason, but I remember I one time I told my father that I was going to play for Empire, and my father shut that down with one simple thing. So, boy, one time you couldn't even climb over Empire Wall. What we usually playing is that I don't know, a lot of people don't may not know this or remember this, but Empire was a Comamere thing. If you went to Comamere, yeah,
I think it still is.
Empire right now. Empire, I for the last few times I've been to Empire, there's a lot of people at Empire now that I heard that some of the older people from the thing say that we got people here that in this club here now that could never be in this club one time.
And what was the big issue with Cavamir and and the
Well,
club?
you know, Barbados got a thing with high schools, and I think you know, Harrison College used to go to Spartan, and then these you know, the fair skinned people used to go to Carlton and Pickwick and YMPC and them places there.
No, now it's starting to see what you're talking about.
Yeah, so you know, things have changed a lot now. You know, I mean, I guess they run out of other people.
Bro, you know, that's real funny. All right, so obviously, moving to Canada, you knew about the club here,
Yeah,
Barbados Sports Club,
yeah.
and what were I don't know what drew you to it? Was it quality? Were you hearing good things?
No, to be honest with you, you know, it was Barbados Sports Club. I'm a Bajan. I just came from Barbados, you know, playing in national team. Well, actually, when I came here, they wanted me to actually postpone my leaving to play against somebody, but I can do that. So anyway, there's a Barbados Sports Club. There's West Indies United. There's Irie. There's all of these teams, and then I have no doubt someone I could make any of these teams, no problem at all. Actually, I was asked. A guy from Unity actually met me at the airport, um, talking to me about playing for. He had a Barbados connection as well. He was married to a Bajan girl, and he, you know, so but I stick to my people.
Did you always play for Barbados Sports Club, or did you play with someone else
I
before?
I played with a Jamaican team. The first team that I played for was a Jamaican team here, a team, and it was a very lower league, you know, a bush league thing, Cherrywood. Uh, you know, these guys treated me like I was Jesus. They never they say that they didn't know that they had Bajans that could play football. That they know them as cricketers, but not footballers. But that day happened. The Cherrywood thing happened because for some reason I could not get connected to the Barbados Sports Club.
When you say connected, you want to explain that to
I
me?
I like, I heard about the Barbados Sports Club. You know, like I said, I knew about the Barbados Sports Club. There's no transportation. These guys are training at they were training at the exhibition at the time, and there was nobody. You know, I didn't know how to get there. Um, Heard nothing from anybody at all, and I my cousin hooked me up with a Jamaican guy that he used to work with, that he knew this team, and he's asking me, you know, you sure that you sure you could play? They you know, I'm not sure if you could be able to make this team. And so anyway, one evening they took me to see this team. When I see this team play, I asked the guy, I said, which team, which one of the teams is that you think that I may not be able to make which one of them? I can believe my eyes, you know. We thought, you know, to me, that was more like, I don't know, second division, third division in Barbados.
Hmm.
You know, so, but they when I decided, okay, I can give these guys a try because, you know, you want to play. Barbados don't seem to be interested. I want to play. So I started playing. I talked to the guy that was running things. He asked me where I live, gave him my address, phone number, everything. And every evening for practice, there was somebody at my door, the apartment downstairs at the apartment to take me to soccer practice. On the weekends, carry me to games, bring me back home. Every practice session, every game. I got my hand broken 1 year, and they had guys you would come for me, come on Friday evening to carry me and Dan shopping.
Wow.
The Jamaicans, all Jamaicans.
So I mean, by saying that, so then if you got that treatment, why did you leave?
Well, actually, the club actually dissolved eventually. So, but before that, I went to I went and watched a game, Barbados Sports Club playing at St. Clair. So after the game, I spoke to a few of the people, and I played half of the season for Barbados Sports Club that year. Half the season. And that year the team came last.
The Barbados Sports Club.
Barbados Sports Club that year, right? 81 or something like that. Yeah. I played half the season. I was voted the most outstanding player at the end of that season. But the big thing now is the next season. All right, 81 or 82 or one. I don't remember exactly what year it was. And they had a meeting, and I had volunteered to coach the team. My man, I cannot believe you the pushback that we got. I not long left Barbados as a national team player. All right. I came here and volunteered to coach Barbados Sports Club and come up against people that had no idea about coaching. I don't want to name any names, but the year that I had a coach that we were down maybe 2 or 3 nothing. So you go into the dressing room at halftime, and his team thought was, man, there ain't nothing in the game, so get a man. Well, I used the dark.
Uh, I can only imagine you coming from being a national player to in a locker room with that kind of conversation. It must have been kind of comical.
Let me listen to me. After the following year, when I asked when I told them I want to coach the team, these people was giving me trouble. That the thing, there was everything. Oh, you wasn't in the club long enough, and I all this kind of. I could not believe my ears. I could not believe my ears, boy.
What?
But you know, it is amazing. The president of the club at the time, I tip my hat to him because I think without him, I would probably wouldn't get a job.
Who was the president at that time?
Was Dick.
Richard
Richard
McCollum.
Richard McCulling.
Okay.
He was at the time his job was a management. So I think that he knew a few more things about managing the team and them kind of things. Not really managing the team, but management
Management
as such.
in
You know what I mean?
particular.
Yeah. And you know what? The thing about the team that came last, I saw potential in the team. We had players, we had people, all the fellas that knew the game. But what I saw from the beginning, that there was no guidance, absolutely none. I play. You come to the dressing room anytime, anyhow. You men come to football at halftime. We had guys that if certain races are running, they're not showing up for games. They got to be at the track and all this kind of thing. So I took over the team. They gave me the job. I laid down my rules from beginning. About getting to practice and communicating with me as far as not being able to practice and then kind of things. And to me, it was easy because I saw the team needed a little bit of discipline, and they needed a whole lot of guidance. And for me, that next year was easy.
Was it a highly skilled team at that time, or was it just
Yeah, we had good guys. We had some really good players. Um, you know Whitney.
yes? Mhm.
Up to this day, I'm still saying that Whitney is probably one of the best players that I ever played with. Up to now, he got to be up in there. He got to be there, maybe in the top three or so players that I ever played with. And Whitney, to me, Whitney never took the game serious.
Yeah, his name got called a lot from the other guys too as well.
It was called a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he this guy was unbelievable. I could read this guy, and I don't know. I am thinking like me. When I played with Arthur Kerr. When I played Arthur Kerr, it was so simple that he understand, and I understand. This man just so, and I think that was the same thing with me and I.
I think from what I'm hearing from the other guys too, that Arthur was a former national player for
For
Jamaica too as
Jamaica,
well.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that made it a lot easier.
yeah, yeah. This guy, Arthur, would look at me. I would look at Arthur. I we know exactly what's going to happen. You know what I mean? That it was so simple, so simple. But like I said, I don't like I said I don't want to call the names. You know, but it's amazing. It's amazing the pushback, man. I'm saying that a national player and that Trinidadian guy, he just found out that I was a national player and he was ready to scoop you up. Well, the year that I coached the team, that I was named coach of the year.
No, from the players
from
or
the
from the
from the
league?
league.
From the league?
From the league,
That's outstanding.
coach of the year. This is when we win that the Bolton thing, friendly TND,
Oh,
and I got my trophy here. Here it is. See this here?
what was this one for?
Coach of the year in the TND league.
This is from the league itself.
Yes.
And you still didn't get recognized from the club.
No.
That's interesting.
No. And to me, I don't know about nobody else, but to me, Derek, that is worth more than the TND. Being
So,
recognized by the club.
by your peers.
Like Derek, one time, I played. I got called with the Ontario select team.
Mhm.
When I got called with the Ontario select team, I played in 3 leagues. I was playing in 3 leagues at the time. I was nominated by every one of them leagues for the Ontario select team. Went and practice and everything. When the man called the team, now when the man called the team, I wasn't in the team. They had about 4 or 5 Englishmen there. So they asked me, so you made the team? I said, no. The man on board the coach.
Mhm.
The next, I go home the night, the Friday evening, I go home, my phone ring. The guy tell me to show up at Birchmount Stadium some date or something to play. I said, who you talking to? I said, my man, you see these kind of things, so all them things going past me. I refuse to go. That guy that the left foot boy that's playing for Trinidad, that used to play for Irie, I can't remember his name. I got it from my phone there too. He's one that went. Tell me he tell me, what happened to you, BG? You're too miserable. I said, okay, that ain't a problem. You go along.
Wait, which team? This was that you were going to play for or something?
The Ontario
Ontario.
team, yeah, Ontario select.
You think that was like a select set of people too that were picking the players too
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well?
it was, yeah. The coaches, they're Spanish.
Hmm.
So they're eventually they took a Spanish team, like almost a whole Spanish team, and got that guy. And there was another guy that a goalkeeper that went to. It was me, that the Trinity guy, and a goalkeeper that went. I didn't show up. I just not me, man. I just like there was things that you could throw in Barbados back in the day. You know what I mean? I tell myself all that crap there, man.
1982.
1982, most goals. I think
Most.
that was
This was from the league too,
this is from I'm taking
or from the club?
from the club.
The club.
The year that we won that thing there, the year that we won this art, I probably scored the most goals in the league. But you know what happened to us? It was something with the team sheets,
Hmm. So names or something
something
got
like
messed
that
up.
there. But that year, I think I probably scored the most goals in the league that thing there. And there's something that up to this day that still bother me up to now. Well, when it's bother me, F is one of the points in my soccer career that was wanted down is that the year that I coached I coached that team and won coach of the year. I scored the most goals. I was the most outstanding player in the team that year, and but I was never recognized for coaching by the team.
Can you are you able to explain that? Because before you came, there had to be like a group, a core group of people who were running things, and then when you came, you had a little bit of pushback.
Yeah.
Did you
No,
see that as the reason why the club was kind of like resistant? I would say either outsiders or newcomers, or what was it?
no, I think newcomers. I think it was a newcomers thing. I like I said, you started to play. You go on a team and you start to play, and players that know about football immediately recognize, okay, this guy seemed to be able to play. He seemed to know what's going on. So it was only like maybe 2 or 3 guys that I had this problem with. Well, I consider a problem, and these are guys that I think helped start the club or whatever. But I up to this day, I know I still try to understand what went about there, and I still don't understand.
It's interesting because when I think back, I mean, I'm going to share my side of the story too eventually once I do all these interviews and everything. But it's always felt like even though the club by the time it came around was already existent for like 20 something years or
Yeah.
whatever, but there was always a sense of someone or group of people trying to control things.
Yes. Yes.
You
Yes.
know, it's,
Yeah. 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 And you know, I I don't know, man. I think that I'm different. I think that I'm very different. You know, and when it comes to football, playing football, you and I could be the best of friends. And I could give an instant with this here. Duncan and I were the closest friends ever. And one or two of the guys that were going to Montreal to Carnival or something like that. So the guys told me, okay, this going. Okay, well, we got a game on the weekend. I got to know how to set up my team. Weekend, Duncan going to Montreal with these guys. I didn't know that the man had going. The man tell me nothing. Anyway, came back. We train at JoJo. You know everybody. You know Duncan. Everybody. These is the guys that's play every week. She came back and Saturday I got to Eglinton Flats. Supposed to get there an hour before the game. We're there. Going in the dressing room. I don't get change. I said, "My mom, how are you doing?" You get it ready. I said, "Getting ready for what?" I said, "My mom, you in the team." I said, "You went to Montreal last week. Did you tell me that you was going?" The dressing room gone silent because for some reason Duncan and I are supposed to be this great friend, so I'm not supposed to say anything to him or nothing like that.
when he was on Montreal, did he miss a game, or
Miss
what?
a game.
He missed a game
Yeah.
without telling you?
Without telling me. Yeah. 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 And it just goes to show. And people will think now, oh, okay, just because that happened now that, oh, okay, me and Duncan will be friends again. But he don't understand. He can't. So like, you know what? You're right. I should let you know.
It's interesting because people who come through a certain kind of training for football,
Mm.
like I think I came through a good system too. You understand those things.
Yeah.
You understand discipline.
Yeah.
That was lacking a
Yes.
little bit when you came around.
I set the rules when I came. I set the rules. I told them this is how it's going to be for me coaching the team. If you guys want me to coach this team, this is how it's going to be. All right. You all come to practice. All right. We only practicing before the season starts Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. I think it was 3 days during the week. All right. You got to come to practice. You got to come to practice early. Games. That's the next thing. You got to be at the game early. You know what I mean? The games are Saturdays. Most of us never used to work on Saturdays, so you got to be there an hour before the game. If you can make it, or you call me and let me know. You know what I mean? My part, I used to consult with Eddie, was the captain of the team at the time, and Brooks, one of our top players. You know what I mean? If I got any doubts or maybe it's about somebody in a position or something like that, I would call up these guys, have a word with them, talk to them about it. What I think, what you think. It wasn't like me just making all the decisions myself. I would consult the senior people in the team. And another thing too. If you are playing and you're not playing good enough for me, I will call you up, talk to you. Um, you okay? What's going on? I noticed that recently you haven't been, and I think that a lot of the players had some respect for me for that. Yeah, you know what I mean. Me, there's always the other end too. A lot of guys. I heard things. People came to the club and tell me that when they first came to the club, other people in the club told them that I think that I know everything, and and some of the guys, I remember one fella in particular told me, it's a good thing that I don't just listen to people, so I can watch you and see for myself. And I never really found that. And I respect people for that. Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm sort of like that myself. If you tell me something about somebody, yes, I would be aware and I would look out for that. But I can make my own decision.
Sure, and that is important.
Yeah, I can make my own decision. Yeah, but and I know too for sure that you can't be in a position there that everybody's not going to like you. You know what I mean? I can do things that can upset people. You know I always had this thing about me, like I think that I could tell you if you could play, but you just walking out there. That's me. You know what I mean? And when it started to work with TDC, and they had much time and other people coaching the teams and things, and they bring guys come to try out for the team. The man will always come to me, Ivor, you think this guy can play? No, he can't play.
But did you think that judgment always worked, or sometimes you were pleasantly surprised?
No, I actually I was always on the ball. I remember we had a one guy came one time. The man come to practice. The man had on like a jeans, like a cut off jeans. All right. He had on nylon socks and boots. He can't play. I just see the guy. He cannot play. There's no a footballer won't come to football like that. And and he showed for two evenings, and that was the end of that.
I want to ask you here about Barbados Sports Club and the importance of the Barbados Sports Club to the Caribbean community here within Toronto. Did
Caribbean.
they play a role? Were they important? How did you see them?
Yeah, everywhere you go, like I said, we had Ivor from Trinidad, and these other clubs, from Jamaica, and stuff like that. Yeah, and people they had some respect for Barbados Sports Club, because we had our annual things, dances and picnics and then kind of thing. So you know what I mean, and the role I think it played is that it sort of brought the Caribbean community closer to one another. Just the playing soccer, we get to know you get to know Trinidadian guys and thing. I up to now, um, you get somebody from Barbados Sports Club that died, and you will still see somewhat old players from one of the old Jamaican teams or something that would and we had Jamaican players. You know what I mean? We had Lindo. He was playing for Barbados Sports Club. I don't think he ever played for anybody else. And I I I thought that it was a really good thing. It's unfortunate that we can keep it going. And I think the reason for that is that we didn't have enough younger people, coming up under us. And then then the younger people that we had were, I don't know how to describe them. As
I think I want to get into that just a little bit because I think it's important um, that we understand like how the team or the club dissolved
dissolve. Yeah.
because I think it's safe to say there's no longer
No,
existing.
no, no. not the Barbados Sports Club. Um, the way, like the way I saw it, I wasn't really active when it came down to the end. I wasn't really active, and usual thing, a lot of accusations went off the line. Duncan and I were accused of stealing Barbados Sports Club money. I wasn't even a member of the Barbados Sports Club. I had absolutely nothing ever had anything to do with Barbados Sports Club or money.
Well, I was going to ask you because when by the time I came around, you were you were always around football itself,
Hmm.
but you were never involved with any of the committee
No,
member or
no,
membership and stuff like that.
no, no. I was on the committee, a few times, but I didn't have the active role as the treasurer or anything like that. Here. And that is this that day, unfortunately, you know, that caused me and one of the members to be far from friends. You know what I mean? You accuse me of stealing money, me. And for the little time that I think that I was with the Barbados Sports Club, um, I thought that I brought a lot of people closer together. We used to picnic. Um, we used to barbecue at one of the places and that kind of thing. So, what I mean? But, unfortunately, there got some people that in this world, like Donald Trump, that did some Trumps, had some Trumps before Donald Trump, and that's what happened. You know, it was really, it came down to that area that it got so bad that people are not talking to one another, and then you had one group one side, the next group the next side. And like I said, at that time I wasn't. I had 20 towel and everything there.
It's interesting because it started going back years and years and years, and talking to some of the guys before I spoke with you, and it seems like they said a lot of people were attracted to the club based on the principles that the club had, the foundation the club had, the way how it was ran. And I always wonder like what caused the breakup. It seemed like Barbados is a small island. We have a small club up here in Toronto, but yet we found a way to cause confusion.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm still. I don't want to just sing alone. We still have, or at the time we still had our problem with our school thing. If you got a president, and the president, you got a president that went to St. Leonard's, and somebody running that went to Harrison College, and somebody else running that went to Comere, somebody else running that went to Foundation, and you know for some reason we want to bring that school thing.
And you think that was like a egoistic kind of situation?
But yeah, that I'm thinking so. Because that they got to do with this is a Beijing thing. I don't know. Uh, I thought that that Barbados Sports Club had brought the Beijing community together. Like I said, we had Trinidadians playing, we had Jamaicans playing, but I thought that the sports club brought the Beijing community closer in Toronto. Um, Well, Ontario, you know, there was a guy that used to follow Barbados Sports Club from Hamilton. He's come to all the games and stuff like that. You know, it's amazing. But I thought Bajans wanted to be together, and that there was one of the ways for us to do it. Barbados Sports Club used to have big dances. Every year, people used to be looking forward to these dances and stuff like that. Here. You know what I mean? I thought that was, you know, a part of or the legacy that Barbados, the sports club had left. You know, like I said it, you know, I still, you know, maybe this is it's like that. We could have done a lot better.
I'm hearing the same thing from other people as well.
Yeah.
Like now that we sit back and think
Think
about
about
it,
it, yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
we probably
And
could have do things differently.
yeah. And you know, to be to for the club to just dissolve the way it did, you know, I don't know, man. That's a hard one, boy. That's a hard one, you know. And for me, to me, it was two egos, you know. And the only good thing about them that there is that both of them come from CSO school, and you know it wasn't you know Harrison College or Conver thing, but that's how it is, you know.
You know, we're in a different era right now. You know, and back in the '80s, we didn't have the technology like
No,
what we have right now.
no.
And now we're in 2020 something, 2025 right now,
Hmm.
and we think about the younger generation. Is there any message you would like to give to younger generations of athletes coming out of Barbados or even the Caribbean, and joining sports clubs here in Toronto or in Canada or in Ontario? Um, what kind of message would you like to send? Because we have technology now that people can use to their advantages to help each other, right? If you have players coming out of the Caribbean, they can connect easier than we had it back in our times. Is there any message you would like to tell them players?
Well, like you said, you know, I think it's easier now. It's easier now to be connected. When I left Barbados and came here, I had a letter from the Barbados Football Association, you know, ex national player, whatever.
Wait, hang on. You mean you had a letter from the consulate or consul of
Yeah,
Barbados Federation
yeah.
to say that you were a national player? And who was that letter for?
That was in case I needed to. I wanted to. I was going to join, you know, some team or any team up here,
Okay.
you know, because I with FIFA you got to be released
Right,
from
exactly.
one to the next. Right, so I was released from team.
So to me, it sounds like this was a really big deal. Like these are like you took it pretty serious, and
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah.
I met other national players from Barbados, and to me, it didn't seem like they had that same kind of pride when it came
Well,
to football.
like when you got people like Hayden and them fellas there that came out of Barbados, you know, earlier than me, you know, a lot earlier than I did. You know what I mean? And like I said, you know, I came out hoping that, you know, things would have been different here. You know what I mean? As far as football and things is concerned, but you know, I like I said, I had the football bug, but you know, I also had a family to look after and stuff like that here. So, you know, one time I there was there was a team here, a professional team here, and I would have had a chance to try out with this team, But I had to be, I would have had to be, made my way to Florida. Um, I would have to pay my way, all right? And that wasn't in the cards at the time. So, you eventually you sit there and live with it.
I mean, I guess after a while, it kind of settling of
Of course.
what reality is
Yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah.
really in Toronto.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that must
Yeah,
have been a little bit kind of different. Like, I mean, leaving Barbados, you probably would have thought there's a lot of opportunity to really
yeah,
do
yeah.
big things with football here.
Yeah. Yeah, like one time I went to Ottawa, play football up there. There was a Haitian team up there and a Jamaican team. They were playing like semi-professional or something. And these guys wanted me so bad, so bad. I mean, it never really seriously entered my mind about moving from here to Ottawa to, you know what I mean? But I thought that football was a little bit different in Ottawa than it was here. But I guess that you had about on the right kind of people, the right people here. You know, what I mean, maybe if I had gone and played for somebody else, I mean, things may have been different. But like I said, me and Barbados, I want to stay as close to Barbados as I possibly can when I came here.
I can only imagine. And I'm thinking like being a national player or ex-national player and coming here, and I mean, this is a real serious question though. Did you think you did a disservice to your playing career by playing for Barbados for Barbados Sports Club and not expanding your play with a different club?
Right now, I would probably say yes, no. But at that time, I didn't think that I was. I think that at that time I was loyal to my country. That plain and simple. You know what I mean? You leave your country. I this is off the way. I remember walking in the mall here and seeing people that I swear that I know from Barbados that I don't know what it's sure know this guy here. You know, man, that's but these people that you don't got a clue about, you don't know these people. But but you left your country, you know what I mean? And that was going on for a good few years.
Why did you think it just looked the same or
Yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah. Yes. The people from South Africa or something like and this is no joke, you know.
So we all look alike, I
Yeah, yeah,
guess.
yeah. Isn't there? They say that somewhere in the world is somebody that look like you.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I came here, I ran into the same problem too. I
Uh,
swear, people were people that I knew from back
you
home, but it
exactly,
just wasn't them.
exactly.
If you had to relive everything and you had to see the Barbados Sports Club back then, or if it was to regenerate and start all over again, what kind of message would you send, and what would you hope to see?
I'm thinking that if the sports club is up now, that it will be different because I like I say that class thing. I think that has been downplayed quite a bit now. It may still be there.
It was probably big back then in the
Yeah,
80s,
yeah, yeah.
probably. I mean, like, why is it so different than now? What do you think?
I think people change in Barbados. I don't know if in your time, in my time, all right, as a youngster, you live in a street, 10, 15 houses, maybe 10, 12 houses. And we're all around the same age group. We go and sit the 11 plus. And six people in the street that we all used to play together. Pass with St. Michael's, Queen's College, Harrison College, Combermere, and then all of a sudden you don't talk to this boy, you don't talk to the next boy, don't talk to the next body. And this is something that we knew that we knew would happen. But I don't think that's the same thing that's happening now. All right. For some reason, I don't know if it is the parents. If the parents is tell you, well, look, you're going to high school now, so you can't talk to Ivor because you're going to send letters. I don't know if the parents do that, but I have two sisters that went to St. Michael's. All right, my parents were totally different. I mean, there's no way that my parents would do that. You know what I mean? If you're somebody and thinks, oh, Margaret don't speak to Joycey, my mother my mother find you like white on rice. You understand what I'm saying? So like them things there, I don't know too much about them. I accept it as a fact that okay, Maggie went to St. Michael, so me and Maggie, we used to play, we used to go to Sunday school and things together. Now she don't want. I mean, I just upside down. You go along like nothing never happened.
Yeah, that's really interesting because like, for me, I didn't go through that because I don't know. I guess I was different. We were poor, and so we didn't care about any of the other stuff. We were just care about food coming inside the house.
But there, you talking about. I talking about the '60s. You're talking about the '80s.
Right.
So things change a bit. You know what I mean? But like I said, I mean, I am sure that you've heard us say many times that is one of our. I think that was one of our biggest downfalls. You know what I mean? And years and years and years after, I realized something too, that some of these people that went to high schools probably should not have gone. They probably went to high schools because of who the parents know or the family knew or something like that. I could give you an example. There's a guy in my neighborhood. He's dead now. He went to St. Leonard's. We had guys that went to Combermere and Harrison College and stuff. And this guy still used to show them work. Sam parents were poor. And I know somebody got Sam's spot at one of their schools. I swear.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right because I mean the more and more that I hear stories, I hear a lot of stories now. Ivor, I hear a lot of stories. Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah. And some of them guys that went to high schools turned out to be bums. Some of the guys I remember there's one particular guy in our neighborhood that went to St. Leonard's. When he left St. Leonard's, he went to community college, and he retired as a headmaster in Barbados. You know what I mean? So, that's just how it is. That's just how it is. Like the little boy on Facebook or think on the internet tell you that his brother told him that it's not what you know, it's who you know. So the teacher asked the guy, so who did your brother know? He said, my brother don't know anybody. That's why it won't work. And that's that. I think that's it. I think that people were getting into schools because who they know.
And that affected a lot of things here within the Barbados Sports Club in the earlier times.
Yeah,
you thought.
I think so too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there one thing in particular that stands out to you the most in all your time when you were around the Barbados Sports Club? Anything. It could be dances, could be football, could be anything. Was there something special or something that stood out the most?
Look, despite all the things that I tell you, I still thought that there was a time that we had a group of people that used to come out to soccer picnics. I mean, like people, parents and stuff like that there. When people come out here from Barbados on holiday, always the sports club, always a picnic or something like that. I think the camaraderie that we had at that time is something that always stuck with me. You know what I mean? Up to now, I still think that I have some pretty good friends. I still think that I got some people that have a little bit of respect for me and all that would still call me. I refuse to change my phone number. We hardly touch all that home phone there. But up to last year sometime, somebody told me that they were going through some papers and found a list that I had printed for everybody. I still got one upstairs there too. Printed for everybody. And see, you know what? Let me call for. I am sure that you still got the same number.
Oh, that's outstanding, man.
You know what I mean?
Excellent.
There is the little things. You know what I mean? Like I said, all in all, you know what I mean. I had a wonderful time with sports club. I really enjoyed my time with sports club. There was another time with sport when I started that job. I can get weekends off or anything like that. So then a few years later, I was getting weekends off or whatever. I think it was, and the guys were playing out of season, but the game beat bad. So I used to come and watch the guys playing, and they asked me to come and to come back. So eventually, I did go. Maybe a year or 2 years later, I said, "Well, okay, like next year you can come and thing." And I went back. Um, I told Richard, I said, "Look, I can coach the team. I could coach the team. I probably won't be playing, but I could coach the team. But for you guys to win, you gotta come to practice, all right?" And we won everything.
Oh,
We won the league. We won the what do you call it? No, the some like the top team with top two teams or three teams in the league will play again. All of them we win. Knock out everything.
mm.
Everything we won. We had Caesar play for us.
I remember,
You
yeah, but
remember?
I never see him play. I
Yeah.
never see him play.
Caesar play for us. John, remember John,
Mhm.
Terry Frank, that he played.
Yeah, yes,
Cracker
yes, yes.
York. Cracker York played. Schofield playing. All the old fellas.